just like the experience we had in the first year, 2018, to like all the people involved in composers' performance from different countries and different backgrounds, to come together and talk about the issues which are kind of common ground for everybody. And in that year, the issue was because I was very much concerned, I mean, hoping that it informs more or less everybody. And everyone, it's like a practical talk, and public who wants to attend, attends, and then maybe they also make some conclusions or not. So it's just like that, a chat, public chat. And the first year, the current issue of that year was that for me it was very unclear, you know, because there's a music, acousmatic music, and that's the way it is developed in the world. There are centers, there's beautiful JRM, and there are some acousmoniums, as Daniil lists, you know, some are festival format, some are venue format. There are some things we want, there are some things we have, and there's most of it that we don't even have. And then is it like any comments about starting it off from the theater side and issues like that? I was very happy about the talk, and I think that this kind of issues we all share now is the Corona lockdown, and just wanted to, you know, go through this and share actually quite quickly, because we only have like 40 minutes before the main concert, Acousmonium concert today. And that's why I entitled that, I proposed the title, the Lockdown Acousmatic, and which Schrödinger Acousmonium comes very logically out of the lockdown thing, that it's like, you know, by the analogy with the famous kind of Gedanken experiment, thinking experiment cat, that we cannot know if it's dead or alive. So for the moment, like what we have is the, you know, the maximum of what we have is the probabilities, and then we estimate the probabilities, but we cannot really work, for example, on the that was like I just put it in the book that of Thomas Gorbach, that now it's in the preface of me, that it's too weak to go, and we still don't know whether it happens or not. And it's about the visas, it's about this million permission. Like there are very many factors that put us together in this probability situation. So how do we handle it? And shall we look for something more stable? Shall we? But it means then it should be some new formats. It's not the formats that we developed through the decades already. So acousmonium, as anything spatial, in a way, as we know, it is in danger. So what do? Shall we go for online, or shall we just wait for better days? And so on and so on. Do we have some? Like profit? Of course, I mean not in a money way, but in an artistic way, a communication way from the online, or is it just like a preview of something that we hope for once having when it's all hopefully over, or what? And I mean, I know that we all have. I mean, we still wait for our Austrian friends and hopefully Russian, because there are some very interesting solutions were found expectedly or unexpectedly, and of course there's a lot of disappointment, but. Just these are the things that I would love to kind of share, you know, that we kind of share, and then maybe we enrich each other, and maybe the audience. So, Daniil?
Okay. First of all, Anton, I think the best part of all this is that being here, not only me, but them and all the audience, is that it permits us to forget the complex, not impossible, but complex situation we are living in. And meeting again and coming to a concert and listening to music is, I think, is an extraordinary occasion in itself, but more in the context we are living. And what really is bothering or worrying us here, our Austrian friends.
They're always late.
They had their beer, now they can chat with us. And so in this context, what bothers everybody and what bothered you as an organizer is the difficulty to project yourself, to say, okay, I'm going to do this in July. And the second question is, will it happen? will ever happen, independently of the means, the theater, the money, the trips, the visa. I want to forget all that. I don't want that to exist. I know it exists, but I don't want it to exist as a way of influencing what I do or how I act. I'm really convinced, and human history has proved it a lot, that, well, imagination is what makes the world go on. And if we have a difficult situation, we have to imagine ways to either go around it, which we managed to do, or either change it. We do something else. I agree that there's something else we may do, we won't like it. I would never make a virtual concert. I wouldn't stand it, but I'm an old man. Maybe young people are... Today I was reading an article in the newspaper that so many people are getting more and more into virtual reality, and even spending hours and days in that context, building their own worlds, using their bitcoins to buy and sell things. So, okay, I won't go against that. I won't go in, but I won't go against. And so we, as always, have to imagine some kind of solution. And I hope this festival will continue, because it is a unique opportunity to present the music in excellent conditions. It's a unique opportunity to always be close our Austrian friends. This festival has permitted to bring together France and Austria, which was one totally unexpected issue.
Not to mention about Russia, about Italy, about Argentina.
No, forget
Mexico, yeah.
But with the help of our countries, we have managed to be here, and of course with the central energy, and also we have to thank Russia, because even if it's complicated, we're doing it.
I'll tell it, yes, thanks.
Huh?
I will pass your congratulations to the country you just mentioned. Totally.
To Vladimir, I want me to write to Vladimir?
You should.
I will.
We already have a template from the 2 years ago. Okay. So we started to talk about the probabilities, rather. Hopefully that they can probabilities, that they could probably be promoted to the opportunities of the music kind of composer electroacoustic music existence in the terms of, I mean, of course, we know that for the stream we can stream, but this is like the biggest question, is that because like the kind of main concern about us is that Acousmonium for me is mainly the answer to the question of the performance of the music, because I think there's a big progress in terms of creating the electronic music. It's very handy, and it's accessible, so you don't need to go from one country to country and then apply, and then if you're lucky get it. But you can really do very many things. It's an incredible progress. Whenever I read the articles of Max Matthews, John Appleton, Jean-Claude Risset, what would be the computer studio in the future, they could never even come to the reality we have now. So it's an incredible, to my point of view, correct me if I'm wrong, But it looks like an incredible progress on that part. But I mean, in terms of the presentation on this side, when we come to the listening point and the audience, then I would say that, except for the Acousmonium and some other things, and it's not enough, but even the options are scarce. And so how do we do it with this kind of second part? I mean, we were composing everybody a lot during the lockdown, and we changed even the way we look at music and then the way we do it, and I can witness that. But how do we go on with the performance and the spatial and multi-channel? Do you have any?
That's another subject.
Okay.
But we first react to the first part.
Any ideas or maybe any experience?
I mean, my experience was really during the lockdown that, like everybody, I missed the concerts a lot. And because you spoke about space. And when I came back to my first concert again, it was really this spatial sensation. I was aware of this, that it is really not possible to put it in a digital format. Because, yeah, I did a few online concerts because, yeah, as a musician, you are happy that it happens, and that also it's also a fact of money that you have your contracts. So I think in a certain way it was possible at least to make concerts in this format, like a documentation, let's say, and there, as far as I know, also some software was developed to make a more real-time reaction. So I think everything is in progress. But regarding this acousmonium idea of space and spatial distribution, I think it's not, it's impossible to do that. And music is really a matter of space.
So this beautiful video that you showed us today from the Elevate Festival, you played it with the empty audience, right?
Yeah, I played it without.
Elevate is also known, I guess, to the JRM because at least last 2-3 years they bring in JRM now, and this is in Graz, in Austria.
I showed it.
I don't know how was it for them. Like, did they brought the acousmonium? Did they play it for people or not? Because it could be that it was like with Katharina. And actually, then in the 19th of May, we also played with Rdeča Raketa, and they just published it today. The same team. It's a beautiful festival. But so this is something like, I love the attitude that you use this time to work on something. Work on the video, work on the programs, of course, and then you have we have these beautiful videos now from the beautiful team, and then we can use it now in the workshop. So that's like, I would generalize it maybe as a kind of work on your stuff and make your stuff developed, and then hoping that it will work for later, if there is later, yeah.
I think we have to make a distinction between documentation and what is happening in real, because I think sometimes it happens that you take the documentation as real, because we are so many hours in the internet, and also when I'm speaking with my students, they're checking everything in the internet, and that's how it is. And as always, you have to ask, what is reality? Yeah. And maybe we have now a shift of reality in a very experimental way.
No, I wanted just to take a little about the streaming. I think that for me, I might talk a bit positive about it. It was a bit. I had very nice experiences with streaming on the lockdown too, and it was for me like a new form, which is still very. Most of the streamings were like super bad because the technique didn't work, because nobody took care about, was not possible in the budget, and it was not just about. For me, it was not only just about doing something as a performer. Of course, acousmonium and electroacoustic music, it doesn't work. But as a performer, was not only like just, okay, let's do the concert, get the money, and as a public as well, I have a very good equipment at home, and I could do the whole, you have to do the ritual. So I found this form. I was making a concert in Cordoba, like live, and for me it was like, oh, this is like, and it was very nice communication with this guy I know since many years, and we didn't have contact anymore since 10 more years, and so he invited me, and this communication and this possibility to play with him live was really new for me. So I think this format has to be preserved, even if it's can give us a dystopic idea that, live concerts will disappear. I think we should keep both. Live concert is one thing, like acousmonium is impossible to have, of course, in live streaming or whatever. Even video is like a huge compromise. And even looking at the people, for me, is a huge compromise. I think really acousmonium should be like, I'm more for the hardcore, super dark, no image, no just ears. But so just to talk a bit about with positive things, like I heard for sure 3 magic concerts with streaming, and was great, yeah. So I appreciate this, but most of them was shit. for sure. Yeah, technically, yeah. But it will come, I'm sure, it will come.
Maybe it's something you can also say about most of the live concerts, you know?
Exactly.
Not much different.
It's true.
Diego.
Oh, it's complicated for me, but I think this possibility to have a real acousmonium now is incredible, and it's like a miracle. To be here is like a miracle too. For my in all the lockdown, I don't work too much to the streaming because I don't feel this situation like this. I work with a student. That was possible, but I was prefer to live this moment because I think it's a moment, and it's historic moment. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's an historic time when we don't know give comment dire the level of this situation is very, very, very strong, very high. For me, it was not possible to make a lot of music. I lived the moment. I invented the new possibilities, and I follow this moment too.
But I remember at some point Armando had a very nice concert with the students. Yeah, it was a concert. Could you tell us?
Yeah, actually, my experience during the lockdown with live concert music had been not really planned during the lockdown. I had some concert with my my organization there, Alcom, and we were working with a conservatory doing pedagogy and things like that. And the project started just before the lockdown. And we managed to keep the contact with the students even with the lockdown. It could happen, and some teachers working with the students in the conservatory, working with mixed media piece, could do this work, and we managed to get some authorization to do this concert, but without audience, only the student involved. And yes, the concert was streamed on Facebook, and we, in a way, we keep the objective of this project because it was to work with the students. So for the student, the project was real, yeah. And yes, that was very important that we can keep doing project also during this time. And my second experience is that I had a residency performing live with synths, and I work in La Muse en Circuit, which is a national center near Paris. And I was there to work on my things, and the concert was cancelled, and it was supposed to be acousmatic music concert with an acousmonium in the venue. But to me, it was not I was not convinced by putting a real acousmonium and doing live performance in stream, because I have the stereo file of my music, and I can put it on the internet, and the people can stream it with good quality. Whereas if I play it on the acousmonium, we lose all the space, all the characteristic we are looking for when we play this kind of music in a venue. So I turned it to electronic live performance, and that was a very good experience to me.
Yeah, there's and here I think we can really come to a question of, we spoke with Diego today about yeah, it was today. Days are very long, about how do we master the files, and then you said that you, as a master of JRM, person responsible for mastering this and that and that and that and everything, mastering, said that you should master expecting that it goes everywhere, in the car, in the internet, in the acousmonium. It's, to me, of course, like, I think everybody realizes that it's kind of hardly possible to make it, but we do it anyhow. And this is the problem for me, with the big problem with the streamings, that it's not that I don't know. I mean, I can imagine that most of the people listen it from the laptop speakers. Yeah. So, and that's I mean, this the quality it is. But who knows, you know, what they have. So we don't know how they're going to listen. And maybe the way our music is getting there is something that we really didn't really mean. And how do we do with that, actually? Any? Matthias.
Matthias.
I shall say something about mastering.
Yes.
You make a mastering?
No, of course, you are
Disastering.
right. Yeah, it's a disaster when you think about this situation, that you sit at home and you listen over loudspeakers or headphones, and it's compromised sound quality, whatever. But I don't think about this because I hope we can go on normal.
Daniel sent me the piece about Bach in the times of lockdown, and I listened to it at my actually very, very good system at home, studio. It sounded completely different now in the acousmonium.
Actually, the only thing what was changing was that we couldn't play in front of audience. We could work, we could even had the best time of our lives. Everything slowed down. It was in paradise somehow, for me. Last year was one of the best years, for sure. And only the side effects had been somehow problematic. But
well, we have a happy man here.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing we're all here. That's excellent. Huh? We're still here, we're still composing, still performing, still wanting to fight. I would like to say two things, Anton, if you
Please.
give me 2 minutes. First, about quality. The first thing I'm going to say is very negative. People, listeners, viewers, don't give a shit about quality. It has improved.
The young generation, how
it
it's
has
educated.
improved, and it's our work also to make it improve. But when you think in the situation, somebody goes to the cinema, shoots the film with his phone. It's a 3D film with 3D sound, so he shoots it with his phone. He gives it to a friend, the friend views it, and he is capable of saying, yes, I saw the film. Then you get an idea of the differences in quality. But I'm optimistic, because it's true that everybody is concentrated on internet, and the initial quality of internet was terrible. It has been improving and improving. Streaming has been improving, the quality, the visual quality, the audio quality. So I really hope the audiences can make the difference. You're right when you say it's nice to be here with you in front of us and not speaking to a camera. Hi. You're indispensable, the camera. But the thing is to induce this concept of quality. And I will link this to the acousmonium. I have a certain age. That means that I've lived through different generations of technology, of electroacoustic technology, at least 5 generations. Cars. My first car was a catastrophe.
It worked for sure.
My car today, I find, is a small car. It's not a Mercedes or something like that. It's a Nissan. And I find it's the best object I've ever had, with all these facilities, commodities, easy to ride and everything. Now, if you take that scale, where is acousmonium? What is the sound of acousmonium regarding all these generations? I saw also 4 at least generations of acousmoniums, but in more absolute terms. For me, acousmonium is still end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s, for 3 reasons. The first, the halls. The hall, I love it here, but you have to fight with it because it has its acoustics, and halls are thought for other activities and not for acousmatic or electroacoustic music. And when I say the hall, I criticize this, the noise, permanent. So you work in your studio, the sound, you hear it, disappears in the noise. So we should compose thinking about the noise. So the halls are one thing. Second, well, we're always working in a certain urgency. We have half a day to install loudspeakers. We can never test. We can never move things around, set up. We do a little bit, etc. That's the second part. Is more practical. But the third element is the sound itself. How is it possible? I'm in a train station. 50 meters away, there's a guy playing an acoustic instrument. I immediately recognize as an acoustic instrument. You all know that. I never heard that sound coming from a loudspeaker. I'm not criticizing loudspeakers, I'm just measuring the quality distance existing between what we can listen through a wonderful loudspeaker and what is our real listening. You know, the cameras have pixels. I bought a camera of 2 million pixels. People say, oh, wonderful, wonderful. Now it's 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million. How much is our sight? 480,000 pixels, million pixels. So it's about 10 times more than what our cameras can show. And to be optimistic, at the same time, cameras can show things we can't see in dark contexts and everything like that. So there's some kind of compensation. But this is, I'm saying this with an optimistic perspective. And I always hoped we could get better and better and better. And if I say all this about the quality, because we had this great discussion with Risset in a round table some 20 years ago in Milan, and we agreed really with the difference between the real sound, and here when I'm talking like this, you would listen to the acoustics of the hall and the noise. So when I do this, you forget all the rest, and you concentrate in the signal. So let's hope we can get better sounds in the future.
May I ask you something to this?
Yeah.
Because yesterday, what was, I don't remember who was saying that the timbre, we are already on the limit, like all sounds, was this composer, Elsa, the video, exactly. She was saying like, oh, we have reached the limit, and you're saying that's not true.
No.
It's very nice, because I thought like, I had to think about it. It was like, but what you're saying, like our possibilities, because I believe that it's like, and that's timbre too, like space, I think is kind of, this, creating this will be in electronic music, timbre.
What I told Elsa regarding that concept of timbre.
That I don't translate this part, sorry, yes.
Okay, She says that we are arriving to the possibilities of making new sounds.
Yeah. It was in Spanish. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
I'm
wasn't
sorry.
translated.
Yeah.
And she's totally wrong. What is happening to her is that has listened to the tools too much. But new tools will come, new ways of working will come, and sound will always change.
And listening, yeah.
Yeah, I first I was completely disagree when the way was I acquired the Elsa's interview that Daniel translated it to English for me, that I translated it to Russian, and then I went back even to Spanish because I couldn't believe that that's what she's saying, you know. And then I translated with Google, compared to, of course, Daniel was right, and with the translation. But yeah, it took me time to really put it together. No. You know, so we disagree. You know, the opinion of the speaker doesn't fit to the opinion of the peer advisory board. No. But on the other way, I really understand that that's the composer's attitude, because as a composer you keep working, and so for you know too much, and yeah, it looks endless. But I mean, somehow I actually in her speech I see it ends up in a positive way, because she proposes to go into the space and look into the space. But even in the studio, it's our topic. Like, okay, how do we go to?
When she talks about space, she's wrong.
But
that we can't understand the complexity. Right? We don't know. Like, it has been totally studied. The maximum of events we can perceive are 7. It has been studied through experiments with many different people. It's the limit of our capacity of following things. So don't put more than 7 sounds at the same time.
But she makes beautiful music. But the concepts were like...
The music is absolutely beautiful.
Fortunately, fortunately, the composers are not the best theoreticians.
Well, that's why we have round tables. Otherwise, we just fight and saying he is wrong or she is wrong. And it's always nice to put things together, right? And but yeah, that's another question, because I'm really very much concerned that it's very, very important for an experimental musician not just be very, very good in the music, but also be better than the pop music, because that's why we're experimental. We have to be better than them, and I mean, she is. And for me, it's very much okay that she's probably not so precise in the theory.
Why are you so critical?
I don't know.
Why do you use the term better? I would use the term different. Pop music is one thing, and experimental music, if you want to call it like that. I don't call it like that anymore, because making music is experimenting, whatever kind of music you do. But we believe in that. We believe in getting in a piano without knowing what we're going to do, and to invent new sounds and to create new situations.
I just meant it in this guy's sense, you know, in the master sense.
I wanted to make...
About the master, we have a problem, a big problem. We work with very high exigence, very high exigence of sound and finish in a headphone and a computer and a streaming.
Okay, but the good quality is there.
But
you have the good version.
Yes, good version. But when you work hard with a mastering and a very good sound, and then you listen the sound compressed, oh merde.
But we used to make before digital sounds, when we made the music, we would make 2 versions, the concert version and the radio version.
A radio version, yeah.
Compressed, hand compressed, and filtered. And so we need to have, and that's, I'm theoretically an expert in preservation, but the main rule in digital preservation is when you transfer from analog to digital, you get the best quality possible with no intervention. You don't change anything, you don't filter, you don't, and from there you get the master digital, and you go down to different resolutions, to different qualities, with interventions, with restoration eventually, but there's something there that nobody touches, but but it is the reference. It's the best you can get. And that's how we have to, it takes time, but we have to learn how to work. I wanted to see a last thing, sorry. Coming back to sound, when we listen today to Diego's first work, name? 5 pieces that come from
afar.
Apart, yeah.
That was the word.
When I had listened to it in the radio some stuff when he played them, but when it was finished, I told him, Diego, if I didn't know it was you who made it, I would say it's a piece of the 80s. Yes. Because of the sound. Because of the kind of use of the sound, the technology he used, the way, the methods, and so we have this capacity of distinguishing periods.
But it's for that because I worked in the 80s, and I remember the material and remember the sound of the tape, for example. I was want to make a piece like this age. With I was work with the same materials, the same microphone, because I was record with a Neumann U80 Maschentrück. And I recreate the situation of the 18 in this piece. Was interesting because Daniel listened this approach. That is, I am very happy for that. Thank you.
Yeah, but
can I make a questions?
May I also, like, before I forgot about, yeah, sure, I would love to, but I mean, we just came to this, I mean, we didn't go actually too far from that, because, like, what do we do in the Corona, and when we have no venue, but in a way, I mean, for me, I don't know if everybody's agree, or, but yeah, for me, I think the architect, or the venue, in a bigger, broader sense, it can be a desert also as a venue, or car, you know, the cathedral, is actually, it's a kind of, like an environment, yeah, that the music grows to. And to me, it's pretty clear, actually, that if you look at the Baroque music, if you look at the music before that, and you know, indigenous music or church music, pop music, you can really see that for which venue it was made. And of course, like, since many years, we have a player. It's a virtual. And then what Katharina just said, that also the virtual reality is our reality, so we can really delete the virtual thing for very many reasons, and it's not virtual anymore, and also in that sense, you know, so this is also our venue. And then I'm just trying to put it together. I mean, we don't have much time to sit and think like chess players, unfortunately. We have to play a concert soon, you know. But like this thing that Daniel mentioned before, that he already witnessed 4 generations of acousmonium. I'm just trying to think, like, does it mean that because of the digital kind of automation and this post-virtualization and with the common denominator of Corona, does it mean that we witnessed the birth of some kind of 5th, maybe, generation of acousmonium? Do you think it happens, or it's too early to say, or there will be no 5ths, or dealing with these factors?
Let's wait and see. And next year we can ask this question.
We will.
What changed in 1 year? Now it's too early to see what changed in 1 year of nothing. But next year we'll have a better vision of what changed and what are the tendencies more than what changed of music consumption.
Question? Sorry.
Maybe in 10 years we will say, oh, that sounds like in 2020. I just wanted to say, because regarding our limits, when we say, where are our limits? We have maybe, or I'm sure at the moment we have, like always, technical limits, but we should never have, these limits like visions. And you always can, because we had a lot the discussion was now a lot of on technical limits, and I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
That this is another kind of limit. And when you say, oh, it sounds like in the 80s, because we are capable now to say, like the fashion, this is the fashion of the 80s. And in 10 years, I'm sure that we can say, oh, that sounds like at the beginning in the first lockdown. Can you remember something like that?
Sure.
Maybe?
I mean, I think that limits in 10 or 20 years become signature.
Yeah.
Like Angelica likes to work very much with the that's something that sounds like 50s. No, the cassettes and stuff. So it's a signature. It's not about.
No, cassettes are not the 50s. Yeah.
80s.
In her case.
Yeah, but they started at the end of the 60s.
No, I exaggerate, just to make.
Revox now. I'm going backwards.
Yeah.
So it's.
So my question to all of you, including our moderator, is: as composers, what is your problem now, and what is your wish? Problem and wish, or not problem? Your concern, huh?
Let's start from left to right, as we see it.
From Michael Matthias.
Yeah.
Deine Sorge
You may have no problems and no wishes also. Maybe. It's an answer. No wish.
Yeah, I don't know. Everything is, as you walk, every step, it develops. So, my concern, it's a package of everything somehow, which should work together. It's not just as a composer. It's a whole thing, how you see life, how you deal with everything which surrounds you. Yeah, I wish that we can go on and survive the journey.
As I'm a very slow person, I mean, I'm very fast in talking things, but I'm very slow in process. And for me, for example, I think like it's only 1 year, this Corona, and it's like I didn't suffer much. I was very privileged, I might say. I had to compose a lot, and I had the money, and all my concerts felt away, so I didn't have to perform. And this was fantastic because I was close in my house composing. So this was fantastic, so I cannot complain. I didn't miss the concerts because the break is good, and I played too much, so I was fed up of that. So I like the streaming better because I didn't have to see so much people. So for me, it was very good. So I don't have the struggle yet concerning Corona. Concerning this time, I think I will probably because I always become these things quite late. I have always a delay. So maybe in 2-3 years I will have some concerns about what happened now. But so my concern is still the same, like me with myself, and my wish is still the same, actually, that just to develop this. So what you say, this image of the train station, that's actually my wish, that my ears get at the same level more or less. And that plasticity, just kind of a sound development. This would be the wish. The concert will come back. I'm very positive. I think it was not so. I'm very concerned about the health and of very young people. This is my concern socially. I think they have big shit. For artists, I think it will come back sooner than we think. This is my position.
What a so really difficult answers, no? Oh, my concern that we don't forget to listen, this education to listen, and regarding the younger generation, also everybody with the smartphone and texting during the concert and I'm doing this and that, so that we are really still capable to concentrate on what I call composition, that what is going on in a piece, or that we still can follow a certain form, that we don't forget switching to this and that and that and that. Well, and my wish is that during this whole, all these other concerns worldwide, like climate change and so on, that we still have culture and music as a main thing which takes us further.
Yeah, it's a difficult question. Yes, I agree, Katharina. Yeah, my concern would be more about involved people and everyone more in education. This is something that's very counts for me. Education in everything, and also a very around culture, not only. Yes, to me, education is something very fundamental, and it can bring changes in the future. And for our music, also, we are lucky to get in a time where technology are very accessible, and this is not something bad. And I think the most important thing is to educate everyone to know how to use this technology. And I did a lot of work with very young children also around electroacoustic music, and we can teach them to use technology to discover the world and to get into it with the sound. Yes, that's something that is very, I think, important.
Was that an answer to your question, really? Ah, so it's mine. Oh, shit. Yeah, I thought he's still. So what are my concerns and worries and what?
Your main concern now as a composer, and your wish?
I think I understood it pretty early that, like on the one hand, art is something very, very personal, and it's just mine and only mine, and then it helped me in my, that's actually why I am an artist, because it was my territory, surrounded by drones and fences and heavy weapons that everybody who attacks just, no negotiations, it's just mine, and that I really needed that in the city and in the school and, stuff where I was born, so that was a great point. And I still keep it like that, and I'm just happy to later on realize that that environment is not the only place on Earth, and then actually the world is big and sometimes beautiful, and there are people like us, then there are people with community. So, and then I kind of extended it to the opposite, that not just that it's mine, but it's also how it's like how it is. Like what are the kind of rules for it? What's the context for it? And if I don't like the context, I realize that it's actually it always looks for me very, very easy to change it. So that's how I thought about sound art, because I felt at some moment in Russia that we just need the proper term, and then it solves a lot of problems that will be understood what it is, and not mixed up with DJs, with psychedelic, with some bastard of trance or whatever. I mean, electroacoustic was too early to say. That was just like, it took me more than 1 week. It took me like 7 years, but now it kind of works. And I don't even profit from that, So there are some others who hijacked it. Help them God. But I mean, I'm really happy that this. I also felt the same about acousmatic, because I think, okay, now the context. I don't know why I'm so crazy to think that way. Why don't I just go for my own warm place? But that's my I don't know. I just feel it's not enough, and it's not possible if I just do it like, here's mine and that's. And I'm really happy that the acousmatic undertake, that I met Daniil at the and Francois Bell at the Festival of Thomas in Vienna, and then it was immediately, kind of at first sight. So, and then it took us 2.5 years that we made I think it's kind of really growing, and it makes me feeling very, very happy. So what bothers me is that this interrupts, you know, that I just see that, you know, as so I cannot really take apart that this is me. And I don't want to take it apart, because I always think that I do it, that hoping that there will be somebody who will do it instead, that I will be just a composer coming and composing. And maybe it will never happen, but I think I cannot, you know, I seem like, because it's the same like our students today, because I witness it again, that they have this there and back way, like I compose, but where would I listen, where will it be played? And we played at what we build, so we have to build it, and we cannot understand how it sounds before we build it, so so it's the loop, you know. So in that sense, it's impossible to say where is me as an organizer and where is me as a composer. And then it, of course, like I can say that it's so great, you know, and it was, and exchange with Daniil, exchange with friends, and sharing. But the fact that this is interrupted, it's a big change, and that in the chain effect and the kind of domino effect, it affects everything for me. I'm finished.
I want to be brief. I had not a lot of problems now. For me, maybe I need to have a little bit of time to compose or to make reflections to the music, my music. But my wish is to find inspiration, to find the new ideas, travel a lot. That is travel, play in the festival, like here. That is my pleasure too.
Great.
Thank you.
I finished quickly. Yeah. I already told you about my sound wish, so no need to go back there. My greatest wish was to be here with all of you.
Yeah, my greatest wish was you to be here and everybody else, really.
I really mean it.
Really. Mean it. I know it, yeah, me too.
And when all of a sudden, the last days, it seemed that it wouldn't happen, I was so affected by this. Now, very quickly, my concern. I've composed more than 100 works. I never had time to compose. So I would see the concert date and then count the days and see when I would start and finish the day before. At least 90% of my works have been done like that, in a rush. Some were extraordinary, others were less. Some months ago, I had to make a new piece for flute and tape. And so I sat down, got my paper to write, my pencil, my computer, and I said, oh, whoa. You have time. I've been retired for 4 years. Nobody's rushing you. The piece is going to be played at the end of the year. And all of a sudden I said, well, what do I do now? I have time. How do you manage time? How do you think your music with time?
I can tell you, Daniil, next thing we do, you write a book.
Yeah. No, I did. I wrote many things. But one of the things I did is I sat down and I wrote. I wrote for myself, analyzing how I compose, analyzing works, and what do I criticize, not only in this work, but in the process of making it. You know? Trying to understand.
Reflecting.
Yeah. Reflecting, exactly. Taking time to analyze your own work. So that was and still is a concern. And for some extraordinary reason, because I really can't understand, I have 5 commissions now for the next year. First time it happens in my life. I made one already. The next one next month. I don't know why. Because in all this crisis, all of a sudden, pop. And I ask myself, isn't there probably a need, not a need for my music, but a need for new things, for new adventures, for new situations, and this this idea that's really consuming our heads. We want to be back as we were before. We want to live as 2 years ago. And the proof is we can't. But we manage anyway.
And in the panic, some countries gave suddenly much more money for art, which is like, oh, okay, suddenly.
There's
in
money,
Europe,
there's
in
money.
Europe,
To be a citizen of those countries, yeah.
And not everyone.
Then it's fine.
It was like, it is there. So that's good. Yes. Thank you.
Well, thanks everybody. Some of us have a performance very, very soon. Let's go. In fact, in 12 minutes. Thanks everybody.